Parish School Board welcomes comments from the citizens of Tangipahoa Parish, both for the purpose of evaluating the job that we are doing in educating our students and for the purpose of identifying problems and inequities within the school system. Speakers may offer objective criticism of school board operations and programs, but the board will not hear complaints about individual school personnel or other persons at a public session. Other channels provide for board consideration of complaints involving individuals, and in particular, those concerns should be addressed through the grievance procedure for handling complaints. The board's grievance procedure provides a mechanism for which these matters can come before the board if the grievance procedure did not resolve the concerns of the citizen. If you wish to speak in public input, please complete the public input form and present it to the board secretary prior to the beginning of the board meeting. Public input requests will not be accepted after the meeting, but right now we will accept them. Are there any? Cindy? All right, we have one. We have one. Mhm. All right. We will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. All veterans and active military, please render the proper salute, and Ms. Richards is going to lead us.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes. Roll call, Ms. Jenkins, please.
Present.
Here.
Here.
Present. Here. Here. Here.
Here.
Present.
Item 1C, consider approval of board minutes of August 6, 2019. Do I hear a motion?
Move to accept.
Move to accept by Mr. Toller. A second?
Second.
By Ms. Dominguez. Any objection? Motion passes. 2A, awards recognitions. Recognize Mr. Barry Bradford, the Tangipahoa Parish Library Director, as a community partner.
Mr. Bradford. Take this out. As on behalf of the board and all of the district, would like Mr. Barry Bradford to present you with this certificate, this plaque, as a partner for us. You and your library system has been a lifesaver for our school system. Well, on many levels, you have partnered with us on many occasions, but most recently with the cyber attack, Mr. Bradford allowed our administrators, Ms. Jenkins went to the library and used for board agenda to do that. He's allowed them to print copies of things that they needed at no charge to our district. And you stepped in and saved us and really helped us in a time when we really, really needed it, and we really appreciate all of that. So on behalf of all of our employees and the board, we would like to present you with this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm deeply honored, and thank you so much for this. This is, I just feel like I'm doing my job, but I'm always happy to support the school system. And I'll take just a minute to tell you, I gave you those bags, and in the bags are some information about the library, but also a copy of our Common Read. This is a parish-wide Common Read event that we're doing this year. We want teachers to contact us if they'd like to have their classes read the book. We would love, we've got totes that we can check out to them, 20 and 30 copies of this if they'd like to use it. We're going to be reading this book and throughout the school year. Also, the author will be coming on November the 8th and November the 9th, and that information is also in there. So happy for y'all to join with us in this. It's for y'all. Also, one other thing, we're working to try to get all of the school children in our parish an electronic card. The electronic card is a new card we have that won't allow you to check out any materials, but it'll give you access to all of our electronic materials, and it's free. And we want all of the school children to have access to our library, online library. So just wanted to update you on that as well. And I'm just grateful to be here and be a part of this community. And thank you for what you're doing for our children.
Thank you for the
Thank
gift.
you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. academic update, 3A, update on Tier 1 implementation of Wit and Wisdom and CKLA K through 2, Dr. Linda Baker.
I'm here to talk about curriculum for Tier 1 for K through 2 literacy. We know that materials make a difference because children learn from content and interaction with teachers and computers. We have chosen these materials based on information that comes from the Louisiana Department of Education.
It's hard to hear, I guess a little bit close, yeah.
So we've chosen these materials based on information that comes from the Louisiana Department of Education as well as our own research.
Let's check and make sure it's on.
She has to speak into it, yeah,
I have to start
soft voice.
You're just so sweet, it's hard,
I know,
hard to
soft
hear.
voice, yeah.
Go again. So we know that materials make a difference. Instructional materials make a difference because we know that students learn from interaction with their teachers as well as content and their peers. The Louisiana Department of Education rates curriculum materials that are submitted in tiers. We are committed, with the help of you and Ms. Stilley, to acquire Tier 1 materials for our students in Tangipahoa Parish. In doing that, we looked at the possibilities from the Louisiana Department of Education Tier 1 list, and we selected 2 programs for K through 2 reading and literacy. The first program is Wit and Wisdom. Wit and Wisdom is a literacy strand. It is from Great Minds. It focuses on authentic, complex, high-quality text to teach building knowledge as well as providing practice and opportunities for reading, writing, speaking, listening, and comprehension activities. We rolled that particular program out in March, in the spring of 2019. During the last 2 6 weeks of school, we did the training at that time for all teachers, and they began teaching that first unit at the end of the year. This was done so that teachers would have an opportunity to have some expert knowledge and understanding the curriculum, to be well-informed users prior to the beginning of this year when they would get their second program, which is the Skills and Foundation strand. So we implemented that. It went well. I think teachers, it was a bit of a change from what they'd used before, so they did have an opportunity to get used to that material, and we have had only positive feedback since at the end of the last year and since the beginning of this year. The second program, which we trained teachers on, which is Core Knowledge Language Arts, we use the skill strand for that. You'll hear it referred to as CKLA, and that comes from Amplify is the publisher. So that is based on a systematic approach to explicitly teaching phonemic awareness and phonics, the alphabetic code, and the skills necessary for reading fluency. Teachers were trained in that prior to the beginning of the school year now, and we were graciously accommodated by Southeastern. We did not have rooms, nor did we have the facility to present that material on a smart board, had no presentation equipment that was going to be working at that time, and Southeastern very graciously opened their education building to us. We did 2 full days of training, 5 groups each day for every school in the district, and since then we've had probably the most excellent feedback from teachers as far as what's available through that curriculum and how they expect it to be effective with their students. So, any questions?
Anybody? Thank you very much. Very good. Thank you. Consider committee reports. Sorry, did somebody say something? Okay. Finance Committee, August the 6th, 2019. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to adopt.
By Mr. Toller, a second by Mr. Bush. Any objection? Motion passes. All right, now we have a public input for item 4B for Capital Outlay Committee of the Whole. Ms. Morris.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Superintendent Stilley, to our board president, to Mr. Toller, to each of you, the board members. I'm thankful to God that I'm able to stand here as the interested party with something happy to say tonight, and I know you all are too.
Amen.
But on behalf, who said amen?
Hold
I
on,
have a
breath.
message for you afterwards. I'm happy to say that, and thank you, Mr. Snoddelbach, for doing an illustrious job in explaining what was going on with the kids at Amite Westside and the heat factor in the gym. For all of you who had an active part, from the administrative staff, from the maintenance department, from the electrician to the architect, I know you all got mad at times. That's because I was mad too, because they were coming and asking me, when are we gonna get some air in here? Well, tomorrow and tonight, some will be up because I asked them to watch the telecast, and if you all put it out tonight, they have to write an essay about that experience. So thanks to each of you who took an active part to see that our kids got taken care of, and they really were, and they are so excited as I am. And I want to say to Mr. Toller, Independence High is getting some new speakers. Now, when Independence comes to Kentwood, or however they're gonna do it, you're gonna hear me hollering in those speakers saying, whoop the hell out of Kentwood. Because I have 2 grandsons on Independence team, and I have 1 grandson, and I'm closing.
I'm coming to sit by you.
I said, now I don't want you to sit by me that night. I don't want you. But
That's why I'm
one
not saying
grandson,
anything.
he
I'm not
reminds
saying
me of
anything,
a
you know.
professional player. When he hits, he looks at the person and he said, now get up. That's what I want to do that night for you. God bless you all.
Very good, okay, thank you. All right, let's consider the passing of the Capital Outlay Committee of the Whole, August the 20th, 2019. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Dominguez?
I second
A second by Mr. Westmoreland. Any objection? Motion passes. Committee report, Personnel Committee, August the 20th, 2019. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion.
Ms. Richards, motion, and a second by
I'll make a second.
Ms. Abrams. Do I have objection? Motion passes. Do you have any announcements? All right.
Yes, Madam President. We would like to recognize our new principal at Hammond East Side for the lower, not Mr. Kyles. I don't mean new overall. Where's Mr. Kyles? Mr. Kyles will be principal over the upper side, and we have Ms. DeShay Johnson as our new principal for pre-K 3, and we'd like to congratulate you and ask you to come up.
We have an excellent team at Hammond East Side over there. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you to the board, to the Personnel Committee, to our school board president, Ms. Sandra Bailey Simmons, and our superintendent, Ms. Stilley. Thank you for giving me this job. It is the most precious job possible for me to have, okay? I wanted to also tell my mentors throughout the years, thank you. It started with Mr. Carlos Sam in Baton Rouge. He was the first principal to hire me right out of college, out of East Carolina University. And I remember sitting in his office and him asking me, "Are you ready for this? It's different down here in Louisiana." I said, "Well, I'm from Louisiana, I know." He said, "No, DeShay, it's different. You're from North Carolina right now." And he said, "Are you ready?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And from that moment on, he told me that he believed that I would be a leader. And so from the very beginning, he sat me down with school improvement plans. And you know, the best leaders of schools, they tend to search for those teachers that have those leadership qualities, okay? And just develop those qualities more and more, and they teach them. My next mentor was Mr. Ron Jinko, because he was the one who brought me home here to Tangipahoa Parish. Okay? Thank you, Coach Ron.
Wow, you said that out loud?
Yes.
I'm joking. Ron's a great guy.
He is. He really is. He taught me about what stewardship, leadership. Okay. He was the first principal that I saw up on ladders, painting the building, scraping off gum. He said he would not allow his children to come to school with graffiti on the school at Independence High School. It was amazing to work under him. And then also I had Miss Maureen Therese. She took special interest in me as a young teacher. When I started teaching for her at Neeson Middle many years ago, she also believed in me as a leader, and then later on took me on as her IB coordinator for Hammond Eastside. And from that point on, we worked together to develop our teachers, to train them in the IB practices. She really believed in me because she knew that I could study the IB practices and the policies and the philosophies, and that I would find a way with our teachers to make the greatest impact in our children. Okay? So thank you to all of my mentors. Also, a big thank you is in order to the faculty of Hammond Eastside and all of the staff, because they've been with me on this journey since 2011, when I promised this community, and I promised Ms. Therese, I promised the school board when I took that job as IB coordinator, that I would make sure that Hammond Eastside would be an IB World School. And we are. Thank you to the faculty, because without you, we wouldn't be.
Can the
families.
Can the faculty stay in real quick? I want to see the east side.
These are some very hard-working people. Very hard-working. The families of Hammond Eastside, all of our families, they've been supportive of us from the very beginning. They've been digging deep with us into the IB practices and really looking at our new curriculums and how to support that at home through the IB learner profile, through just taking notice of our children's actions. Our families have supported me throughout my journey and my career, and I've learned so much from working with our families. Also, Mr. Michael Kiles Jr., he's my co-principal now, my partner in crime. He is a great leader. He's extremely organized, and he's very passionate about our vision for Hammond Eastside. And now I get to be his partner, his co-principal, and I'm very honored for that. I also owe a thank you to my parents, Frank and Carolyn. Mr. Frank, he chose to be my dad when I was 9 years old. And he brought me into a wonderful, wonderful environment called a military family, almost like, but I was a military dependent through him. He was Master Gunnery Sergeant Gillingham. And he brought me to places in this country and then out of the country that opened my eyes to so many cultures and so many different types of people. And I will always treasure those experiences as a child. He also brought me to a place called Jacksonville, North Carolina, the home of Camp Lejeune. And it's the teachers in those schools. They really helped me to realize just how important teachers are, because they took a little girl from Louisiana and they figured out that I had dyslexia. and they helped me to learn to read. They knew I was extremely intelligent. They knew I had a very high IQ, but they had to figure out how to use my strengths in order to help my weaknesses. And that's what teachers do. That was Mr. Snowden when I was in 6th grade, and then also Miss Lyons, who was my reading specialist that helped me. These teachers throughout the years from that point on, I went from being in the lower classes to being the top of my class because of teachers. They took me under their reins all the way through high school and showed me that they could do it and I could do it and that they believed in me. I wanted to become an educator because of them. Okay? So, teachers, I'm so proud of all the teachers because you are inspiring young ladies and young gentlemen to be what we are, educators. My mom, thank you for teaching me by example. You've taught me about dedication, hard work, a strong work ethic. She taught me about integrity. She taught me to never ask someone to do a job that you wouldn't be willing to do yourself. She taught me 10 two-letter words. If it is to be, it is up to me. And she raised me with tough love. There was no easy path with her. Thank you, Mom, for never giving me an inch.
Would you have your parents, could you stand? Come on. Both of you.
I also owe a thank you to my siblings. I'm the baby out of 5. Not all of them could be here today, but my older brother, Anthony, he's the next one closest to me. He taught me, and he's here, he taught me strength, and he taught me how to defend myself because he's my older brother. But he always taught me how to stick up for myself and how to do it with grace. Okay? My sister Holly, she's the oldest. She's 13 years older than me. She's like the older mom, really. She's a second mom to me. I owe her so much because she was always there for me, and she is still here for me as my backup with my children. Then I have 2 amazing daughters, 2 beautiful, kind-hearted, caring, smart, incredibly talented young daughters who understand. They understand my passion to be an educator.
That one's making some weird faces. I don't know. Right there. She's embarrassed.
I have to thank them so much because they understand and they support me and they share me with now over 1,400 children at Hammond Eastside. And they've always shared me, and they've been gracious with this. They understand that their mom needs to be there for others. And so thank you, my babies.
Would they stand also?
Yes.
Your siblings and your daughters, all of them, all the rest of the family, and siblings.
Even my Uncle Doug is here, and my Uncle Doug, this is amazing because I'm his favorite niece, by the way. And he's got many, but this man would pick me up from the airport in New Orleans and bring me home to Tangipahoa Parish as a child so that I could see my family, but also he taught me to love Tangipahoa Parish, and that's my Uncle Doug over there.
You need to
Thank
stand
you.
also, Uncle.
I have an incredible husband. He understands that if he waits for me to cook at night, he will be hungry a lot. So he has really become a great cook. He's always understood my passion for children and for educating children, and he's been there with me at Hammond Eastside, weed eating, being attacked by wasp. You know, he's just been incredible, and I have to tell you that I'm so thankful for him.
We need the cook to stand too.
Yes, the cook.
Then I have incredible in-laws, Joe and Doug Johnson. They have supported me so much throughout my years since I've met their son. They've believed in me. They have supported me along with my parents in making sure that my daughters got from here to there, because I cannot do that in the afternoons. I'm at the school. It takes a village to raise children, and I have a strong village, not only for school, but also family support. And so I thank them for that, because without them, I wouldn't be able to do the best job at school.
So they need to stand too. In-laws.
I never have to worry about my own children. Last but not least, I have to thank God, my Father, who has never let me down. He has always shown me the path He wanted for me. I will continue to dedicate my life to His calling for me, and that is for the safety and education of His children at Hammond Eastside. My vision for Hammond Eastside will not change for the school, but it will just keep moving forward. I'm joining Mr. Kiles on our vision for the school, partnering with him to move the school community forward. We will keep true to the IB practices and the philosophies. We will keep encouraging our educators to inspire our children to explore this world we live in using our curriculums, and we will keep our children safe and happy doing it. We will continue to expand our visual and performing arts experiences as well. We have one of the best teams in Tangipahoa Parish at Hammond Eastside. Our teachers, our faculty, our staff, our curriculum team, our administration, and we are going to show people what we can do. And our children are amazing. We want our students to know this. If only those who dare to dream can ever make a dream come true. Thank you all for appointing me as co-principal of Hammond Eastside. I will not let you down.
Great. Congratulations. And we also have Miss Amy Dunn, who will be serving as assistant principal at Hammond Eastside, and I would like to ask Amy to come up and maybe say a few words. Thank you, Amy.
I would like to thank Ms. Stilley and the board members. I am so very humbled and grateful for this opportunity to continue to support the students, their families, and my colleagues at Hammond Eastside and the Hammond community. This journey started 20 years ago. God placed my feet on this path, and it has been, oh, what an adventure to have, for sure. He has ordered every step of the way, and I have no doubt that He has me where He wants me to be, doing what He made me to do. As educators, we know that our families are on this journey with us, sometimes kicking and screaming, and lots of times scraping paint and making things and fixing things, and especially with the technology issues. John's always been very techie, and Zachary was too. My husband John is here tonight in the back.
Would you stand?
John. So grateful, so very grateful to him. My son Zachary and my family, my parents are with me tonight in spirit, and their spirit and legacy live on through me, and the love that I share with the children and adults that I come into contact with. I also wanted just quickly to say that I have to give a special thanks to Mr. Kiles and my Eastside family. I work with an extraordinary team of individuals. It is my pleasure and my honor to know them, to work with them, and to learn from them every day. So I am from the bottom of my heart very grateful for all of you. And they are what makes everything run, and they make it so easy. I also want to talk about my journey, 20 years, all here in Tangipahoa Parish, and it's a perfect example of how our district builds capacity in our staff. And in my mind, it's invaluable. It ensures the growth, the continued growth and development of our schools and our district. So that has been just a shining light in my career. I've had lots of influences. The school families that I've had the honor to be a part of have also affected my personal and professional growth. And I hesitated to try to name everybody, but I do want to name the schools. I started at Sumner High School, and from there I went to Champ Cooper School. From Champ Cooper, I went to Hammond High Magnet School, and then from there to Amite Magnet School, and back to Eastside Magnet School. Every one of those staff members, they're family members to me, and they know that it's something that I treasure, regardless of when the paths cross with folks. I also don't want to take lightly the support that I've gotten from district personnel, and I won't, because I don't want to leave anybody out, but there are so many district administrators who have supported me. I've learned from them. They've invested time and effort in me, and I am very, very humbled by the opportunities to do this work. I want to say this too, it's an honor and a privilege to continue to serve Eastside children and their families and my colleagues in a way that communicates love. Love comes first, and it never ever fails. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Congratulations. You have any more? That's it? Did we make the motion? I can't remember, it's been so long for Personnel Committee.
Yeah.
We did that? Okay, good. Okay, 5, superintendent's reports and recommendations. A, update on the current status of the cyber attack of Mr. Diaz.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Everything's been so positive tonight. I can't think of a better time to talk about a cyber attack.
Oh, yeah.
Over the last couple of weeks since we last talked, obviously there's been a lot going on, as you can imagine. We have stayed busy. Obviously now the Air National Guard and the support team that we had here working, up to 80 people at one time, they're now gone. So now it's up to the tech staff and internal users to get a lot of this work done. Over the last couple of weeks, we've touched about 10,000 computers, re-imaging those boxes to clean them up. In the last week or so, we've actually had to go back and touch about 500 or 600 of them. That didn't get done for some reason or another, or somebody bringing a laptop in, or classrooms that we couldn't get into. We also, during the time we were rolling out to the schools to do the imaging for all the computers, we actually had to pull about 300 machines out that didn't meet the minimum specs for the new operating system. That was something that we had planned to do over this semester before a January deadline. Obviously, that timeline got pushed up, so we actually have one person at the shop doing nothing but imaging brand new computers all day long. Technicians coming by, picking up those computers and rolling them out to teachers and secretaries and different places that they don't have computers at this point. Most of that has been done, but we still have a few spots that need computers that don't have computers at all. Wireless is up at most of the schools. Wireless is actually up at all of the schools in some form or fashion. The Chromebooks are up and working for the most part everywhere. We've had some configuration issues that we've had to deal with. Obviously, when you're rebuilding your wireless infrastructure from the ground up, we're also having to touch about 500 to 600 network switches throughout the district, manually getting in and setting up a brand new wireless infrastructure. So that's been a chore, but that has been in partnership with Unity, getting that back up and going. Our server infrastructure is still being built. We have about 35 servers built up to this point. We have a temporary environment up for our financial system. It doesn't do everything that we need it to do. So we're actually in process, and they started this afternoon, of building our permanent infrastructure on site. That gentleman is supposed to be working through the night, and hopefully by end of day tomorrow, that infrastructure will be up and going. We've been working in the school offices to get them back to full strength. Obviously, that's an important part of getting school up and going and functioning. I thought we did a really good job of that prior to school starting, but obviously we couldn't hit everything. So now we're going back to do the things like their large copiers so they can scan to their email, and getting their accounting software back up and going. All of the schools got all of their accounting software back. That wasn't any data that we lost, thank goodness. So the schools are humming along with their accounting software. We have a temporary help desk now put in place. We obviously lost our help desk as well. So Ms. Dina Spears built a Google Forms help desk that we've now been using. I think we have about 450 requests already on it. So teachers are able to put in the issues, the smaller issues, obviously. You know, they don't have a document camera that's working or hooked up yet, or their printer hasn't been hooked up, but also, you know, username issues, or if their computer hasn't been replaced yet, they're able to put that information in. So that is up and going, and the technicians are actively addressing those as we go. Starting to get our software systems up and going so teachers can access those resources from the classroom. You can't imagine the number of different software resources that our teachers use, and I know that they miss at this point. We're starting to get those up. We're trying to prioritize those as best we can. We've already started the process of getting our testing environment back up and going. Servers are built at each school, so now we're trying to do the configuration for the testing environment, because believe it or not, that's right around the corner too. So we're trying to address that as fast as we can. Smartboard software has been pushed out. Ms. Lindy Peer has been hard at work building software packages in our management system. Those have now been pushed out to as many of the smart boards as we have. Again, we're having to touch several of those, whether it was through a naming, incorrect naming system, as people that weren't familiar with the system were going through and imaging the computer, so we're going back and touching some of those. But the vast majority of the smart board computers have the software pushed to them. Obviously, there's still several systems that are down, whether it's from an infrastructure side, or it's from a classroom management side or classroom productivity side. Lots of things that we still have to address that we are addressing every day. We have a prioritized list that we're going through and getting with different faculty and different people at the schools to try to prioritize that list as best we can to get things out in a timely fashion. On a good day, the technology department is understaffed, as you can imagine. We have 7 technicians for 28,000 devices. So this has been definitely a roadblock for us, but I think my people have done a fantastic job of getting us to the point where we're at now, and are working extremely hard to get us through these next roadblocks and get us where we need to be. Any questions from any of you guys on where we stand or any specific items?
Moving forward, do we have an external backup?
We do. We're actually doing backups right now of all of our server infrastructure. It's called snapshotting, and we're keeping those, we're doing those on a daily basis and keeping those off-site. A true backup system has not been put in place yet. We're working to get that rebuilt, but as you can imagine, that's a chore in itself.
Does that exist? Can you have a true backup system?
You would hope so.
I mean, like a tape system or something.
Like we kind of talked about, we're going to go back a little bit old school. We're going to have the new technologies, and we're going to be backed up in the cloud, but that didn't help us a whole lot before. So we're actually going to go a little old school and actually have off-site, offline backups as well that are taken on a daily basis. So
So we'll be in better shape if it happened again.
absolutely, absolutely. Any other questions?
Thank you all for the wonderful job.
We're trying.
Anybody else?
I was just going to say, Mike, thank you, and please tell everybody in your department how much we all appreciate all that you guys are doing. And the only other request I would have for you is that as you go through this process, if there's things that you can think of that this board can help you guys with, please let us know.
I'm making a list.
Yeah, we know.
And you wouldn't believe the amount of support that I've gotten specifically from emails from, teachers, secretaries, you name it, and I know other staff members are as well. So it's very much appreciated.
No, all I hear are really good things from all of our stakeholders about the job you guys have done, and so I hope you guys are hearing that.
We have a good team.
Mike, you have some of your team here tonight. Could you, is that Lindy sitting?
You have some in the
No,
audience?
she left me. Oh, no, Lindy's
Oh,
here.
she's
Would you
there.
stand?
There's Lindy, and I'll
Yeah.
tell you what,
Please stand.
none of this would be possible without that
That's
young
right.
lady right
She's
there, I
good.
can promise you. She works hard. She donates time. She was here multiple times overnight. So if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be where we are. Thank you.
Thank y'all, Mike.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
You know, Ms. Sandra, we need to let the general public know as well, many people that have commended them for their great job, because they've been here just countless hours. My son-in-law does what you do, so I commend you for that. But also for the people that are out there negative and wondering why we don't have this in place, just remember, these guys are working so hard. Try to keep your comments just to a minimum, because they're leaving their families. They've stayed overnight many nights to try to get us back up and running, just so everybody just can get paid. So we commend y'all. We just thank y'all so much.
That's right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, item 5B, update on the August payroll. Mr. Gico?
Good evening. You'd think everybody came here to hear the principal selected an assistant principal. I came here to find out about payroll.
Oh, no.
Can we understand that? Before we get started, back Ms. Stilley's first day with us, she called us all in the office individually, and the first question she asked was, what is our greatest strength? What is Tangipahoa Parish School System's greatest strength? Very simply, my answer, and what we found out everybody else's answer, was our people. And we will get through this. Yes. And a lot of it, 99% of it, will be because of our people, Mike, Lindy, Colin, and their staff, and everyone else that has lended a hand to get things done when they had to get done. So we will be better after this. We will get through this. Will there be some bumps in the road? There certainly will. But, our pledge has been and will continue to be to do whatever we need to do to take care of our people. And with that being said, everyone knows the cyber attack happened on July 28, 2019. That Monday and Tuesday of that week, we already, once we got here and realized how severe it was, we began to talk about payroll. What are we going to do for payroll for August? Luckily, payroll went out on July 26th, a few days before we were attacked. And just to give you an idea, we began using Munis, our payroll system, in 2008. It took 6 months to build up the tables and everything in Munis to get it to where we needed to be to press the button to start payroll. Luckily, we found a disk, an old version of Munis from 2009, 2010. Tyler Technologies, which owns Munis, has been working on taking that version and upgrading it to where we were right before the cyber attack has happened. They have done that. They've got it up to the version that we were in. They are working with technology to house that, and we are going round and round with them to get that housed in the proper place where we can most expediently get things done to take care of our services for our people. This past Friday, the 16th, we received limited access to Munis. Our individuals, our employees in accounting and HR began working on tables in Excel that they can import. But unfortunately, as of today, we still do not have full access to Munis. And we are working with Tyler Technologies to find out when that will happen. All right, August 2019 pay. What's happening with it? When is it going to happen? And so forth. First Guaranty Bank has assisted us in capturing our July 26 payroll file. Okay, our returning employees will receive the amount they received on July 26, 2019, minus any travel, stipend forms, workshop forms that they happen to go to. Unfortunately, this amount will not have their step increase if they're eligible for it, or the increase given by the state of Louisiana. New employees will receive 75% of their gross monthly pay, with 25% being withheld for deductions such as taxes, retirements, etc. This estimated payroll is what we're calling it. This estimated payroll is going to run this Friday, the 23rd. Will be direct deposited into all employees' accounts. Unfortunately, our employees will not receive the pay stub that they normally receive, so we asked them Friday morning to contact their bank to find out exactly how much was deposited for them. Normal payroll is the 26th. We understand the first part of school. Ms. Stilley was adamant about paying the employees on the 23rd. The start of school, not only do they have their own kids that they're taking care of at their house with school supplies and so forth, many of them are taking care of the students in their classrooms. So she was adamant about giving it to them, giving our employees pay on the 23rd, and that will happen this Friday. Now this is where we need to talk a little bit about what's going to happen after this payroll. After we get Munis up, we expect once Munis is up, probably anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks, payroll and accounting will have to do the things necessary to put the tables in, check tables, input 2,800 employees, and so forth. So an actual payroll will be run as soon as humanly possible to pay employees any funds that are owed to them. The actual payroll will include the step increase if they're eligible, state raises, and any extra pay or stipends that they received over July. The estimated payroll amount paid to each employee will be deducted from the actual payroll. So we will run an actual payroll for August 2019, compare that to what the employee was paid, and that net difference, that's what that employee will be paid on that particular, whenever we get that date out to you. We would love to be able to tell you what the date is, but unfortunately I don't want to put a date out there that we're not sure of when that's going to happen. Schools and school sites and work sites are going to receive payroll inquiry forms. Okay. After tonight's meeting, we will email this out to every employee. We will email it to the schools on Thursday, again to all employees on Thursday, and this is for them to fill out if they have any questions about how did we come up with that number that they have in their bank account. We ask them to fill it out, fax it to HR. We will get your answer and either email you, obviously we're going to email you during class time, or call you that afternoon to let you know to answer your particular inquiries and concerns that you have. We know there will be some mistakes, but we pledge to make sure that every employee gets every penny that is owed to them as quickly as humanly possible. Any questions from the board?
Mr. Jinko, can you outline some of the things that we're doing to try and get all of this data put in as quickly as possible? And because it's my understanding that we are going to be taking some extraordinary steps to try to get all of this done as quickly as possible.
Yes, sir. Fortunately, when in July, about the middle of July, our payroll coordinator sends different reports to different entities. So we have a report that has every employee as far as July 11, 2019. It has position control. It has how we paid them, what org, object, and project, what fund the money came out of. So we have that on a spreadsheet. We also have our brand new employees that have all come to the board. When they filled out their packets at the schools, all of those individuals with all the information we need has been put into a spreadsheet. We are collecting, we have some Kelly Services temps, accountants, and some individuals that are assisting us taking the tax information that all 2,800 employees have signed out for us, putting that on a spreadsheet. So we have every area that we're going to need to input. Instead of hopefully manually inputting, we can upload it with a spreadsheet. There are going to be some errors, and we'll print down the errors and correct them individually. Accounting and human resources are working on the chart of accounts. So, and to give you an idea, when a brand new teacher, first year teacher, 9-month, we have to develop a chart of accounts for that person. An 11-month custodian, we have to develop a chart for that individual. Those charts have to be married with the org, object, and project that they're going to be paid from. So when we put in Ron Jinko and whatever his org, object, and project, before we can do that, that account information has to be in there so that those particular funds can marry together.
So, just to make sure I'm hearing, so every shortcut we can find, we're working on that, and then to the extent that we need to bring extra people in to help get all of this done, we're also doing that.
Correct, yes, sir. We have upstairs, we have 4 folding tables with 8 chairs and I think 10 computers that we have people working at every day,
Great.
Besides our employees.
Great. Okay.
Other questions?
Thank y'all for what you do. I know it's pain, but thank y'all for what
Thank you.
As we said, we're going to do everything humanly possible to make sure every employee gets every penny that they are due. That is our pledge to everyone.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Jenko.
Thank you.
Item 5C, an update on the first week of school. Ms. Stilley.
Yes. Thank you, Madam President. First of all, our first week of school went extremely well, considering we were hit with a cyber attack 2 weeks prior. We were a bit handicapped in our schools in certain areas, you know, as Mike was talking about with computers, maybe internet, et cetera. But our people in the school building, our teachers, our administrators, everyone made it happen, folks. And as I visited the schools last week, and Mr. Jenko and Dr. Hirsch were in the schools as well, Ms. Fassell and all of her supervisors were in the schools, you would not know that we had a cyber attack if you didn't already know that. And so it was just so impressive that our people just came together and made it happen. If there were issues, they problem solved, they figured out some solutions, and our students started back to school as like normal. And so hats off to all the people in the school buildings that made it happen, our parents, our students, everyone. It just was amazing to me because I was really preparing for, and I think I used this word a couple times, a bumpy start. I was really preparing myself for that, but it was actually very smooth across our schools and the parish, and so hats off to that. I think since our last meeting, we had our back-to-school rally. As I was visiting the schools, many employees commented on the speaker that we had, Ms. Liz Huntley. Phenomenal job on that. And so we're just very fortunate. As I learned when I became superintendent, and I heard individual after individual tell me, when I asked the question, what's the strength of this parish? What do you think our strength is? And every time they would say, our people. And right on with that one. And so hats off, and I just want to thank everyone for everything that you did to make the start of our school great for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you.
And let's don't forget Miss Pittman in that national anthem. Was that great or what? That was the most wonderful thing I've ever heard.
Amazing.
It was wonderful.
Absolutely. All right. Other board actions. Consider approval of the 2019-2020 graduation schedule, Mr. Jinko.
I know it's hard to believe we're talking August and we're talking about graduation, but as you all know, it will be here before you know it. You have before you our recommendation, and Southeastern has sent us the dates and times and so forth for our graduations for the 2020 season. The schools have been notified. They are all pleased with their particular time and date. So we ask for your approval here.
So we need a motion.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, do I hear a motion to approve the?
Can we hear them?
Sir. Our exiting pathways will be on Wednesday, April 29th at 6 o'clock in the board meeting, on the boardroom. LaRondra High School will be May 6th, which is a Wednesday at 7 o'clock at the University Center. Independence High School will be May 7th, which is Thursday at 7 o'clock, University Center. Ponchatoula High School will be May 8th, Friday at 7 o'clock at the University Center. Amite High will be May 9th, which is Saturday at 10 a.m. at the University Center. Sumner High will be May 11th, which was Monday at 7 o'clock at the University Center. Hammond High will be May 12th, which is Tuesday, 7 o'clock at the University Center. Kentwood High School will be May 15th, which is a Friday, 7 o'clock at the Kentwood High Gymnasium.
All right, do I have a motion?
So move.
Moved by Mr. Toller. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Westmoreland. Any objection? Motion passes.
Thank you.
I did have,
Comment?
I just did have a comment. Ms. Chico, with Kentwood High School, we just kind of have a little concern because we're getting to the point where we don't even have standing room. So that, later that may be something that we need to look at because Kentwood High School is, you just don't have standing room to come into the gym.
Yeah, there's no gym.
Yeah.
Are you wanting them to consider doing it at the University Center, maybe?
That could be something we talk about later or something.
Okay.
Because
If that is going to be a consideration, we need to do that a lot sooner than
Right.
later because
Right.
with Southeastern and actually on May 15th,
Booked every day.
Yeah,
Well, it's
I
booked,
understand.
but
We'll have to take it this time, but
the
we're
15th is
getting
the
to
day
the point
before
where we
Southeastern's
can't
graduation,
do
and
it.
they're not going to allow us in there.
continue.
we
So
need
the
to-
rationale for doing it in Kentwood, is that their choice or it was just
Yes, ma'am.
small?
We love
Yes,
it.
ma'am.
They wanted it there.
They
It
love
is.
it in
We
the
love it.
gym.
So we would need their approval to want to move it, yeah.
We love it, yeah.
Okay. All right, did we do that already? We passed that one? Okay. All right, personal privilege, board members, we'll start with Mr. Westmoreland.
Well, I'd like to say thank you to everyone that has fought the demon of the cyber attack, and I believe that our system is going to come out a lot better. And I do deeply appreciate all the hard work of all the staff and everyone. And the community can help us by going out and buying in our parish, because every dollar that you spend in our parish, we are developing revenue to help us defray this cost. So spread the word.
All right, Ms. Rose?
Just would like to congratulate Ms. Deshay and Miss Amy. I've known them both a long time, worked with them. I'm very proud of both of you ladies, very proud that I've been able to work with you over the years and what you brought to my children as well. So good luck, and I know y'all are going to do an extremely great job. I enjoyed going this past week to the opening of school, to the, working the carpool lines and the things that I did during the week. It was fun, it was exciting, and I think everyone's ready, even with our issues, and I just want to thank transportation, finance, personnel, everyone that's had to deal with the issues that we have. Y'all have done an excellent job, and we hope to be back on track pretty soon. Thank y'all so much.
Good. Mr. Moore?
Yes, I first of all just want to commend the board, Ms. Stilling, and special shout out to Dr. Hurst and the disciplinary committee for the improvements that you guys have made on that system. I think that it's going to drastically, the changes are going to be seen. I have visited a couple of the schools. The one school that I visited that I'm especially impressed with is the alternative school, and I have great hopes for that. It's going to be a wonderful improvement for the children who are struggling and have occasion to visit there. I think that what it's going to do is it's going to return better citizens back to our regular schools, and I'm just hoping and expecting great things from them.
All right, Mr. Bush.
As a candidate last year, I had many complaints to open in school. You know, I have not had one person call me this week about a problem.
Yeah.
So I'll never be a candidate again, Ms. President.
Okay. All right.
Congratulations to all of us. It was a great, considering what we were dealing with,
Yeah.
it was a great opening of this new school year. So you did a great job, guys, ladies. You did a great job. Congratulations.
Ms. Stilley. All right, Ms. Abrams.
You know, there's a song out there that says, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. This did not kill our pride. It did not kill our spirit, and it only made us stronger. I just told Miss Sandra a little while ago, she's been a board member now for quite some
About 50 years.
Yeah. She would have never thought back at her first time as school board member that we would be buying cyber insurance. She would have never dreamed that. You know, we have to move with the times. We have to do what the time tells us to. What the times tells us to do. So I mean, it's really, it's just really amazing. And like I said, I commend you guys for doing as much as y'all have done. It's a very much work in progress, and y'all have done a great job. The transportation team. I've received phone calls. You might not have, but I have. And, you know, their concerns or my child's not getting picked up, whatever it was. A Snapchat, send it to you guys, a text to you, and you guys had it under control. I mean, you just, Johnny on the spot. You made it happen. You fixed the problems. I told Ron sometimes I felt like I was constantly texting him something, but I promise I won't do it anymore this week. Yeah. And he did say that. He said, send me your problems. Don't send them to Miss Stilley. She's got enough on her plate. Because that woman does not stop. Our new principal that was just hired for Hammond East Side, you think your husband has to cook? Her husband has to eat out all the time. So she feels your pain. You know, our back to school bash was amazing. That speaker had everyone, and I tried to watch the children there. We had cheerleaders and we had band members. I tried to focus on those kids. Southeastern's cheerleaders were there, and my niece is actually a cheerleader for Southeastern. She never lost focus on that woman when she was talking. It touched them so much, and when we left, she verbatim could tell me what that speaker spoke about. So I knew they were listening, and it got to them. I really think we ought to have that speaker come back and speak to our junior high and our high schools, because I think they can benefit from that talk she gave. Bullying and what it feels like if they're having problems, to go and tell someone. Don't keep it bottled up inside. I really think she was an amazing speaker. And I have visited schools this week. I did go to the TASK program, and I think Mr. Perry's going to be doing a great job there. It just seems like everything's flowing so well. Everybody was so upbeat. I visited some schools in Independence and in LaRanger and Neesom and Midway. They all seem to be having a great time. The teachers all were just happy and smiling. If you're positive, you're going to make everything else positive. When you speak negative things seem to happen. So always keep your positivity going, and good job to our Tangipahoa Parish school system.
Good. Brett?
Anything to add?
Oh.
Y'all covered it, and I've talked enough tonight. So thank you.
Okay, Miss Janice.
I'd just like to say on behalf of our pastor and the Women Department at Oak Ridge Missionary Baptist Church, we were pleased and honored to have our superintendent to show up on Sunday. So we were all excited about that. And they told me to make sure that I said thank you again. Also, I need to wake Tom and Pat up, because I'm gonna apologize for your dream, but those Rules and the Warriors, because they're in 2A, they've already chosen the opposite sides of the bracket so that we will be meeting at the Superdome.
Once again, you're welcome to come sit by me and Miss Pat.
I'm just going to say, go Tigers.
I just quickly want to commend the teachers and for a great start, being married to one. I see how much work goes into the summer and preparing a classroom and painting and just everything that goes into it. You are all underpaid and underappreciated, and we do appreciate you, and hopefully we'll be able to pay you Friday. That doesn't need to go in the paper, but the other thing is, and I mentioned earlier with the partnership with First Guaranty Bank, but I also want to say this whole thing is exposed, and I think Mr. Diaz would agree with me, that relationships with Microsoft, with Unity Fiber, with Kevin Hunt, with all the different ones, the National Guard. You know, we are not in this by ourselves. Southeastern, letting us use the facility for our back to school. All the different things that go on in a community and these corporate relationships, everything is important to education. We're not in this by ourselves. You know, when we start talking about this cyber attack, it hit central office probably harder than anybody else. But we see how important central office is to the support of our schools. So it's just another example of how it takes a whole village to run this thing. And we need everybody from corporate individuals to universities to our employees to make this work. And it's a good example of it working.
I want to say too, as I visited the schools this past week, it was such a joy to see the excitement in the teachers' faces, the principals that were so proud to show me everything in every room that was painted and what was going on in each classroom and the bulletin boards and all. There was such an air of excitement this year that such as I haven't seen before. I mean, it was more so than ever before, and it made me happy to know that our people are happy out there, and our teachers are happy, and our principals are excited about what's going to go on in their school. And then the alternative school, I was so impressed. I had to go right back there the next week because the principal's excited, but the teachers are excited, and talking with the kids, I see a little bit of hope there and a little light. And what came to me is there's an old song that says it only takes a spark to get a fire going. And I mentioned that there because you could see lots of sparks, and I think that fire is going to be going not just at that school, but in all of our schools in this parish, and I'm excited to see that. Another point is, you know, I saw on Facebook where In God We Trust is going to be required in all schools, but I want to say this. When I first came on the board in 0102, that already went out there, and we delivered those posters to all the schools in our district, but of course we just taped them on the windows. And so last year, year before, I framed every one of them, and we took them back. But I want to say I'm excited though that it's kind of being reinvented or reestablished or whatever, that's allowed. And then there's also an article, Ms. Stilley, that we could teach in the historical part of why we have it. That's our national motto, and I have it, and we could get that out. It's very brief for our history teachers or civics teachers. The other thing is the board members have, you know, anybody can do this, but all board members that didn't nominate a student of the month, don't forget, you have these you that haven't done it, but you can do another one, and anybody can nominate a student as student of the month, and we'll recognize them here for any of their accomplishments or just the hardships that they've been through and that overcome them. We want to bring them up here and acknowledge them and give them some recognition here. So don't forget, we could do that. You call Miss Cindy. And then, let's see, one more thing. Our next school board meeting is going to be the day after Labor Day, right? What's the date? September 3rd. So remember, we're going to be meeting the day after Labor Day. Okay. All right. That's all that I have. No other comments? An executive session, Mr. Duncan?
Move that we enter executive session to consider the case of Cornelius King versus the Tangipahoa Parish School Board.